så er Rico altså taget til Paris, heldige Rico, og der er han altså taget ned til Paris for at snakke med JoJo, som du bedst kender fra hits som Leave, Get Out og det nyeste hit, der hedder Too Little, Too Late. Altså lige se til Rico, han har jo taget til Paris for at snakke med JoJo, heldige asen. Hvordan går det, Rico?
Det går rigtig, rigtig godt. Jeg har fået den ære at tale med JoJo i dag, som kan sige så være lidt af vidunderbarn. Det havde vi jo som tema for ikke så længe siden. Men vi skal tale en masse om musik, og så skal vi selvfølgelig også tale lidt om hendes alder, hvis hun vil. Jeg har fået den store ære at tale med JoJo i dag, og hende har du jo sikkert set en masse til her på Voice TV. Hey Jojo.
Hi.
Thanks a lot for stopping by.
No problem.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
You're on tour in Europe now, or a promotion tour.
Yep.
What's that like compared to the States?
I think Europe compared to the States is just, it's more, rich culture. I don't mean rich like money, but it's just, there's so much history and there's so much to see. And it has just so much more, history to it than America, because it's obviously a lot older. So I love it here. I love the fashion and the food, and very nice.
Have you had a chance to see anything yet?
Yes, actually, while I was in England, I got to go to the London Tower, and I got to go shopping. And while I've been here in France, I went to the Notre Dame, I went to a football game, I went to the Montmartre, another church, so I got to see quite a few things.
Are you into shopping?
Yeah.
Like most other girls?
I do. I like shopping. I don't shop all the time, but when I'm in a great place, like London, I do go out a little bit and get a little shopping done.
Is there a difference in fashion, you think? Can you get other things here than you can get?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Even if you go to a Nike store, there are shoes that you won't find in America that you can find here.
I thought you had it all over there.
We have a lot of things, and probably some things that you couldn't get over here.
Yeah.
But it's just the same. So they have some limited edition stuff that I have to bring home and be like, look what I got from Finland, and that's so cool. I love to come home with things that maybe they don't have there.
I guess when you get interviewed, that you always get asked about your age, because that is a thing. It's a huge thing, and you've achieved some things that none other, I think. Is that getting boring to talk about, or? Because we are going to talk about it.
We can talk about it. That's okay. The fact of the matter is, I am my age. I wouldn't lie and say that I'm not. So it is what it is. I don't get upset about it. It's a topic of conversation, and if people find that interesting, then that's fine.
Well, if I want to talk about that, is there something that you want to talk about?
This is something that I'd love to talk about, the new album. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure we can get to that.
Okay. Well, we were gonna talk about that anyway.
Okay.
So let's start about the age thing. You got a record deal when you were like 12, 13,
yes,
12?
12.
How did that come?
I've been singing since I was 2, and it was always a dream of mine.
I couldn't talk when I was 2.
I was just starting to talk when I was 2. So, they pretty much came hand in hand. I'd always listened to music, even when I was in my mother's stomach. She was always playing music in the house. And it just became something that I knew I wanted to do as soon as I realized that was an option, to be a singer as a career. And I just thought it was so cool to see people on TV doing it. And so I'd worked towards it for quite a while.
Who did you see? Who did you look up to?
Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, people like that. Even to see the Spice Girls perform, I was like, wow, that's so cool. Of course I was obsessed with them when I was like 7 and 8. So
they were cool.
They were very cool. Yeah. So I always wanted to do that.
And Emma Bunton is pregnant now.
No, she's not.
She's not?
Is she? No, is she?
I think, yeah.
Oh my gosh, well, they're all grown up. See, This was like 8 years ago that I was obsessed with them. So when I was 12, when I was 11, we moved to California from Massachusetts, met some people, signed the first deal, and then the album came out when I was 13. So, I'd been doing a lot of things up till then, TV shows and plays and things like that.
But it's not just like, you go to another state and then you get a record deal.
No, it's not that easy.
How did you actually get there?
Well, my mom and I stayed with a cousin for like 7 months in LA.
Were you there only to do something about your music, or was it holiday? Or
we were there for that reason, and also because I was having some difficulties in the area in Massachusetts where I was living, like with school and kids and stuff. So we just wanted to get away for a little while and see if it would be better.
Can I talk about that later?
Yeah.
Can I get back to that?
Yes.
Okay, please continue. Sorry.
That's okay. So we stayed with my cousin, and I did some plays, some theater, some auditions, some TV things, and I did this TV show where I sang, and then a man in the audience came backstage afterwards, gave us his card, introduced us to some people like a week later, and then within a few weeks of meeting him, I signed the deal. And I'd been offered some contracts before then, but thankfully we didn't go with them. I was like 8, and that would have been really weird to sign a deal at 8. You know, and although I was very young signing the deal at 12, I think that it was a good thing for me.
How did you start off just by making an album, or were there some time in between where you actually had to take song lessons or
I didn't have time to take any lessons or anything like that. I really haven't taken vocal lessons. That's something I would really like to do, just to, you know, improve my craft and just be the best that I personally can be. But as of yet, I have not. So in the meantime, I mean, once I signed my deal, actually before I even signed it, we started recording the album. While we were in negotiations, we started recording. And I was in the studio all the time just thinking, this is so cool, I love this, I could live here, I love the studio. So at 12 years old, I recorded the first album, and it was just pretty much all a blur. It was really amazing.
We're going to talk a lot more about that. And all the things you achieved, because you're holding some records right now for the youngest one the youngest one being #1 at the Billboard charts. Is that right?
Yes.
We're going to talk about that. Det går rigtig, rigtig godt, Jojo og jeg. Vi hygger os, og vi har jo talt en lille smule om, hvordan hun kom i gang med hele sin karriere. Nu skal vi også tale lidt om de ting, hun har opnået. I was just saying that we're going to talk about the things you achieved, because in an early age you achieved to be the youngest one having a #1 hit single on the Billboard charts. What was that song?
Leave, Get Out.
And that is produced by some Danish guys.
Yes, so shocking.
Fantastic. We're going to talk about them later. But how was that feeling that your first single was such a huge hit?
It took me by complete surprise. I didn't even think that song would make the album. I really did not care for that song.
What was that?
I just really did not like it. I thought it was annoying. I thought it was a dumb song. I know it's so silly, and I don't want to sound ungrateful, because I'm very grateful for the things that song has done for me. Started my career, and because of it, you know, I've had a lot of great opportunities present themselves. But I can't take credit for coming up with that song, because I just did not care for it.
So it's a good thing that you're a good singer, because you're never going to work on a record label. You haven't the hit ear.
I know, right?
That song never gonna be a hit.
I know, it's so funny, but I did predict Too Little Too Late to be the first single, so,
okay.
And I gotta say that, you know, that's a great thing. So, I don't know, I guess I learned more about what a hit is, because with Leave, Get Out, I was like, this song sucks! What are they talking about? But then I started to realize, okay, it's very catchy, it's, you know, as a subject that people can relate to, and people sing along to it, so I kind of get it now.
Well, I read in your press material, you've been listening to all the great ones. Whitney Houston and Diane Warwick have written for you. You still listen to Stevie Wonder. Was that song too simple for you?
I think it was. It was more pop than anything that I had wanted to do. When I was recording my first album and I was 12, I was like, I am an R&B artist. I sing soul music. I don't want to conform. And then I conformed. So I was just, you know, that song was probably the most pop song that was on the record. And like I said, I'm very grateful for the things that it did for me. But I think it was just too straightforward for me. So I didn't feel like I got to show off my range or anything.
How was it I have to ask you that, of course. How was it to work with the two Danish guys, Solchak and Khan?
They're great producers, and they're great separately as they are together. So normally, like, I think Solchak does the production. He makes the beats. He's an incredible beat maker, and he puts together the music. And then Carlin produces the vocals. And then they'll come together and mix it all together, and they're really, really cool guys. And people ask, like, well, what is it like working with a Danish producer as opposed to other producers? Well, every producer works differently. And, you know, like, they're real laid back, and they listen to my ideas, but they also have a clear image of what they see as, you know, a good song.
Is that good? How do you like producers to work? Do you need to come up with your own ideas, or is it good to be
I need
led?
a producer to be open to listening to me. Sometimes I have whack ideas, and sometimes they're not right, and I need someone to tell me, well, you should try this. So I don't want someone who's just completely a pushover and will let me do anything I want. I think it's great when you can collaborate and come up with something that pleases the both of you, and that is a little bit different and, you know, accomplishes what we both want to do.